Rated M for mature.
Were you looking for me? Oh, what is it?
I have actually. I call it Old Stone Walls. It's relatively new. I haven't worked out the tune of it completely, but it just sort of came to me a few nights back. It's about, well, just listen. You'll see. Old stone walls, towering over the sea, but a candle light, high up shining brightly. All alone, sitting in the bay window, tear-stained eyes, and the waves crash below. Old stone walls, deep down in the dark. Long lost hope and secrets sealing my heart. But then you were there, reaching out your hand, and for just a moment I was brought to life again. Old stone walls, I've seen so many now. Tales and stories, and the joy of being dragged around. Your smile so bright, I could go blind. But that's okay, if you stay by my side. Cold dripping leather, smell of rain. You fast asleep as I study your face. Old stone walls, they don't hold me anymore. I'm happy where I am, in the grip of your arms.
Hello, listener. Yes, Pa.
Oh, it's on. That'll teach you. Were you looking for me? Anything good? I knew you'd miss me. Oh, wow. This is gorgeous.
You? What are you? Please, take Mother Mara's blessing to wash this unease away. Mother guides me to those flickering souls who are yet to cast themselves on the fire for tomorrow's utopia. She sees in you potential which can avert calamity. I, her most devoted servant, need you to believe in the goodness of your heart, in love.
Forgive her, beloved child of entropy. For all her convictions, she only looks up, blind to those below the clouds which she wishes to ascend. There is a terror of minds and ideas forming in the West. A conciliage of antipathy and repressed hatred is nearing its sum. If this horror transpires, then neither the restraints of distance nor time will thwart the canker that will be birthed there. I make this plea to you, special child. Meditate between the opposites and seek resolution in the chaos. I will help whenever I can, but my light is weak. However, even the faintest flame can act as a beacon against the background of deep night. That flame will appear to you in a maze of dark when you most need it. There is nothing to decipher. Just take heed of these words. Go west and see. Open those eyes and see that which belies its splendor. Beset by men, gods, kings, and ideas, keep a clear eye. Keep your head above water when you reach that realm. The tides of want can drown any who venture too far from the shore.
Huh? Sorry. Ugh, my head.
What on earth? What spell did you cast on her? Yes, I saw. You were mumbling to yourself, almost word for word that of Jayana. Forgive me. Our travels have put me in a hastened mood. Didn't know madness could be contracted. Is this a jest you're both in on? No. It looks like you're serious, which worries me a lot more. The closest I can come to answering your visions is that we had just hailed from Evermore, which may be that west you want. If you're dead set on taking voyage there, then a merchant who has a route between that hinterland kingdom and Skyrim should be resting at Markarth. Word of warning, if you care to listen. The Reach isn't a place you want to risk your neck just on the visions of a zealous priestess.
If only I could tell you. My mind was beholden to something truly divine, so much that I can't recall aught that I uttered. However, I have an image of the Reach from that possession. Oh, an incredibly irksome feeling. Maybe you can seek out an answer by following the roads westward. Maybe the same merchant who carried us through that web of valleys can impart the same privilege unto you. Seek him out near Markarth, if you will. Good fortunes on your travels.
Blind, not deaf, so don't make that very astute observation aloud, or I'll be dealing with an unhappy priestess. And I'm as confused as you when it comes to her foresight and sense of self when walking this world. Almost like she doesn't need me here at all. I mean, you're not the first she's approached like this. However, the content of her words have been different when she's done this in the past. A guardian employed by both her father and the circle of priests from Daggerfall, meaning her father is as devout a follower of the faith as she is. Traveling the lands to spread her divine message, I don't mind much. Very honest work, and more than meager pay, to say the least. If you're ever up for another line of work, then priests are employers you'd like to see. Good.
What gave it away? This rugged face or my tired gaze? Crossing those valleys will give you both. Ah, little blind girl and her clingy bodyguard, right? They're a couple now? Didn't seem to give that impression on their way here. Ah, I digress. Going to make a return journey through that rocky maze once I've got all the wares for my eager clients in the east. And I'm short of a bodyguard myself. The fool who escorted me here got himself lost in the wild somewhere, staggering from the inn in a drunken stupor. Thought about tying him to the wagon until he came to his senses. Yet ultimately, if you're going to put your life in someone's hands, then it better be someone you trust. All right. I'm desperate, you see. Happy now? I just need a body to take the hits in case we get into any trouble. Which we won't, of course. Don't worry, I'll be paid handsomely. That is, if you don't drop the venture halfway through and push through to the end. Ah, don't want to blow the wind out of your sails, but this is the east of High Rock, worlds apart from the west. Don't want you to be getting any false impressions of us Breton folk from the, people you meet down there. Ah, there I go rambling again. Get aboard. New lands await.
Rocks and valley, crevices and hiding places. This is the kind of place where hermits and fanatics dwell.
Hope you brought your own rug. That hardwood's gonna be a real pain later on. Don't get too comfortable though. Still need a blade ready for when the road gets rough. Damn, we're on the doorstep of the kingdom, yet the gods ordain that we stumble across trouble now? What a farce.
There you are. I'm glad you're here with me.
Look over there! The man's gasping for life! I'm not going any further until you find out what's going on. Hey now, I'm just a merchant! I try to avoid spilled blood. Besides, what else am I paying you for? Well, the previous ventures haven't seen much spilled blood, save for a passenger getting leery with another. Though my route is one of the safer paths of travel. I have to pick up the pace through certain stretches. I've bandits and the like springing traps from above on any uncaring traveller making their way to the province. Once we reach the easternmost part of Evermore, then we should be safe. Got the guard there meting out justice with an iron fist. Scoundrels should stay well clear. Most of the time, anyway. Well, don't want to startle you, as I do need an extra blade. but we've got a problem with these savages north of Evermore. They like to call them witchmen. Not sure if that's what the savages call themselves, but we'll stick with it. See, rumours are stirring that these witchmen are getting agitated. Sporadic attacks all across the kingdom made the wilds near impossible to dwell in because of their savagery. But that's a problem you'll have to deal with once you reach the kingdom, not on your way there. So don't fret about the journey itself. We'll be fine. Evermore's renowned most of all for its colourful cast of characters and deviants. You'll run the gamut of Bretonnic experience in that cluster of man. First settlement you'll come across, considering you stay the course once you depart from a wagon, is the Divide, a hulking bridge jutting out from its watery locale. Standing atop that stony juggernaut will grant you a vista of the Reach's mires and towns, most notably Arnima, and if you squint hard enough, Evermore itself. Semantics, eh? Evermore is the city and the kingdom, where the city itself beats as the heart and centre of our royal affairs. The place where the Reach consolidates its authority and, well, reach over the east. Used to be a backwater not too long ago, the Eastern Hinterland Kingdom. Yet recent times have spoiled the city with inordinate wealth and power. Power that they've used to conquer and subjugate their comparatively less civilized neighbours. Now any Breton dwelling east of the city's walls sports their banner. You'll see it on your arrival. Nothing pleasant, I assure you. Most outside their miserable sty consider it to be a stain on the kingdom, with good reason. Most of the guards are nothing but thugs looking to shake down us humble merchants when given the chance, and they routinely terrorize those unfortunate sods that don't have the means to leave. All governed by that strange character, Mortefain. Lord Mortefain, to be correct. Never call a lord by his name. Heard tales of sordid acts and strange punishment disseminated upon those beneath him, who weren't wise enough to escape. Most of these tales smacked of madness. Most I simply ignored because they're hard to imagine happening within any civil residence. I never risked finding out for myself. Town dampers the mood, which isn't good when you're travelling on your lonesome. Reminds me. I actually have to pass by that decaying dump. I've got a client right within their walls. Hopefully the guards are knockout drunk, as usual. They're meanest when they're sober. And, don't blame me if you see this wagon halfway to the horizon upon hearing your screams. I have to protect my interests. Come on, Harry. Almost there. And all the hay you want.
Those witchmen in the tower. They ambushed us when we were changing shifts. Won the Divide. Get them to send men, please.
establishing yourselves as the king will have his towers, he will have his subjects, and he will have your head. The Dark Mother assures this. The Maga
Oh, it's on. What have you got?
You must.
That'll teach you.
Thank you. Come on, Annie. Almost there. All the hay you want. Safe journeys. All right? No, friend. Not forsworn. Witchmen. Thought I told you about these devils already? Trust me, these aren't the type you want to be ignorant about. If you treat them like you would any common scoundrel hounding for your coin purse, then the next sight you'll be seeing is that of your gods. Bastards coat their blades and arrows with this vile poison. A resin so foul it can condemn giants to an agonizing death with nary a brush. Not sure how you came out of that alive, to be honest. You're tougher than you look. Really? That's hard to believe. These scum are a whole new low for the Reachmen. Carving up man, woman, child and babe alike in their hideous rituals. Sadistic artists. How they play with the bodies they harvest and hoist them in that dense woodland north. Foul. Simply foul. Spoiled my mood. At least you've made it back. I was about to do one, had you spent any longer up there. You shouldn't. The divide is within spitting distance. If you keep to the road, you should arrive there without harm. Unless you take a detour, that is. That's where my almighty prescience ends and the uncertainty begins. And as we know, ignorance pays. My clients are probably waiting with bated breath, taken long enough to get here already. I'll need to skip on any indulgences on that bridge and head straight to Arnima. However, you should speak with the governor up there, Morosa. Frumpy little woman, but don't tell her I said that. She'll normally be within the temple, sparing a prayer for our mutual mother. Mara, you fool! If there's one god you should know in the Reach, then it's her. The people don't take kindly to those who know not about her grace. I'll see you around, friend. Give my thanks to Morosa for keeping this road so safe.
What now? Oh, wow. All right. I knew you'd miss me.
And the clouds gather again. How futile. Your tears will not wash away the winds. The feast draws near, little wolves.
I'm okay with the dark, but I've spent more than my share of time in caves already.
What now? The most well-known stronghold is Dushnik Yal. Here, I'll mark it down for you. Until next time.
stop wasting my time. Getting out of the Reach before things turn sour for my kind. Many of my brethren have the same feeling of another disaster approaching. My father told me of the pogrom he survived in his day. Such a terrible story that I hope that I or my family never has to experience one ourselves. There's been hatred against my kind in these lands for the longest time, but with that Orsinium's sons raiding and causing their stir among the Bretons, the retaliation from the Manmer will most likely have orcs like me in the crossfire. We were assured that we'd be safe here, under the protection of the Empire, and that our skills would be appreciated by the locals, but now the Empire is weak, and the Bretons grow angry. We don't want to tempt fate by sticking around. If you shared our race, I would tell you, but you don't, so I'm not risking our new home on a chance that you won't rat us out to the Manmer. Hope you understand. All right then.
Hey now. You finished with your business here? You shouldn't waste other people's time.
There she is, the divide.
Hold up.
More than man
Haven't
to
seen you up here before. What's your business?
stable settlement in the Reach. If you can
Witch
forgive
man?
the irony.
Bloody Mara. Never thought they would get this close. Okay, you can go through to Morosa. Tell her everything. For the sake of the Reach. Keep safe.
I see you, scum.
Make yourself busy.
Oh, wow. This is gorgeous. I'm glad you're here with me.
Hail, friend. It's good to see another merry soul enjoying this fine day. Ah, but you look tired. Come, share a bottle of Hunting Brew mead with me. You've never had a taste of sweet Hunting Brew? Why, it's only the finest mead outside of Sovngarde. Its sweetness is like a fair maiden's kiss on a starry night. And it's got enough kick to put a frost troll on his hind quarters. But enough talk. Come, won't you share a drink with me and my companions? Cheers, my friend. May your adventures find you fame and fortune.
Come to hear the latest news, lest you forget that there's more to the Reach than your own bridge. Horrific doom befalls the hamlet of Savat, torn to shreds by vile magic. It has been overtaken by death, or should I say, undeath. A merchant from Skyrim, bringing news of a slaughter at the Imperial Watchtower to the east. No survivors.
Hey, new face, do me a favor, will you? Please, I'll make it worth the trouble.
As corsairs from Hammerfell continue to ravage our coasts. The orcs
Look,
still lurk
I
in the
need some gear,
countryside,
friend.
and
Real
they're
fast,
out for
like.
blood.
I'm willing to part with
Remain
whatever
within the
gold
city
I got
walls,
here,
or
if
at
you
least don't
agree,
travel
that
alone.
is. Just need you to
The
give the
latest
rest
flood
of this pouch
devastated
to
the
a fella
settlement
named
of Forlorn.
Elrich, down in
Bad
Arnema.
news for travelers.
He'll be festering
The
with the
village's
rest
inn
of
is
our
now
ilk,
serving nobody
you know,
but fish.
beggars.
The affliction threatens to engulf the Reach.
Sorry,
as
my
more
lord.
and more
I meant
fatalities
no
are
offense.
reported,
Don't think nothing
even
of it.
witnessed at times. Pray to the eight for good health. Have a care when traveling the Reach. Dissenters exiled from the realm's military and numerous deserters from the Imperial Legion haunt the roads.
Something you need?
As well as horse thieves, if mounted travel is what you prefer. Barn food stealer caught! The once elusive man who ate the feed of cows, horse, and hen. Yes, even manure was thrown into the undertow. Where he will spend the rest of his days. His last words before having the jail gate slammed on him? What's for desserts? There's been much talk about dragons returning to Skyrim. Must be the Nord festival season of mead again. Hear ye, hear ye! It is at last possible to reunite with your friends from the east. Assuming you sad sacks had any, the war in Skyrim.
Sometimes I yearn for those simpler times, where a cold winter was the worst of our concerns. Returning to those days with a rake in hand rather than a sword.
Nostalgia, sir. Nothing but. The dull and stagnant of Twin's life. Fortune favours those of your craft.
Water in any other kingdom. Those recently knighted vagabond scoundrels. All of this means now make up that once not much virtue.
Session of the age should distract us from these miseries.
You wanted to speak
Something
of
you need?
I've heard the news.
Wow, beautiful.
Get on with it!
You heard correct, because he and his guards are demanding more gold from the merchants, while also becoming more aggressive. No better than thugs. And that little lord does nothing but encourage it. I despise that unsightly man. Every conversation with him is extremely unpleasant. His paranoia also makes it so we can't have any of our own in that town to keep an eye on him.
I have a missionary within the temple down there. He shares whispers with me on occasion. If you need on this, you only need to ask. If I may beg my pardon, I shall return to servicing this temple.
Very well. Make a prayer that nothing terrible arises from this disorder. It's good to have the gods listening in times like this. Have we arranged a meeting, or is it your intent to address nobility lacking proper decorum? Speak quickly, lest you rile my temper. Oh, a harbinger of grim news. Not the best first impression. Well, thank you for telling me in advance of my own guards. It was only a matter of time before they spilled further east. Pardon the introduction, yet understand the need for it. We can't have any wandering yokel approach royalty like they're of the same stock. It's not good for the kingdom's image. We'll have the guard there as soon as possible. But for you, are you interested in some coin? We need someone to talk to us. Nothing more pleasing to a mercenary than gold. From your mannerisms, I'll make the sound assertion that you're not versed with High Rock itself, and probably lack knowledge of this realm. However, you will come to know the kingdom's people in short time, as our stone walls all but separate the encroach of savage from civilized. Yes, well, onto the matter. To the east of this bridge lies the town of Arnima, formerly Raven Spring, lest you run into a resident whose mind is stuck in bygone years. Can get confusing, much like everything else in this land. Within Arnima, you will find Jakos, who trains the scout detachment there. He's the only man that I somewhat trust, who's not completely beholden to his lord. Ask him about rumors. Tell him that I sent you. He should understand your intent. We've conducted affairs before. A simple nod from him will be more than enough information for you to infer. You don't need to know any further than that. Ask yourself, Would a noble or an unknown scoundrel have their head on a pike in case a little conspiracy became public? Now, off you go. Earn a small fortune for yourself. I heard Evermore has many an opportunity to entertain your proclivities. On the stipulation of coin, mind you. Such coin that will be available on your return. I assume you're new to the Reach and haven't become acquainted with anything further than this bridge, so a brief lesson in geography is in order. Just beyond the southern gate of the settlement lays Sabbath, a town recently ravaged by a mage that was still sniffing out. However, our search was impeded from the risen dead that malcontent left in their wake. It's a possibility, yet I'm not staking any more men on a hope. We're but a fledgling town when it comes to arms. Our guard exists for immediate defense, not to be used in any failed excursion. I'm no expert nor historian, but what I can tell you should be the same that every Reachman would recite when speaking of those savages. Accounts state that this new incarnation of the Witchman appeared near 2 decades back, just after the incident at Munstor. You haven't heard of it either. I feel like I'll be going over the history of every blade of grass in the Reach. I digress. Munstor was an abandoned fort far to the north that has since succumbed to its frozen locale. Peasants, serfs, and other seditious souls had made a great exodus under the cover of night, all leaving their fields, abandoning the lords they were sworn to serve. Of course, when all your labor, thus wealth, absconds in but a moment, there will be tremors. So the lords had sent men to trail these wayward workers all the way to Munstor. What they saw was an ostensibly bizarre affair, both witchmen and peasants forming a decadent commune, many turning to layabouts who engaged in petty pleasures and shirking the labor that had made them.
Something on your mind?
I'm absolutely freezing. Need to warm myself up with some mead.
I see you're not one for absorbing the finer details of a conversation. This was before they had all turned feral. Not to say they weren't savage before, but that former identity was ultimately harmless, unlike those you see now. The lords eschewed violence at first, instead opting to subvert the commune, freeing their scum and exiles northward, with the condition that they go live in Munstor. The hope was that the delusional dreamers of that town would abandon their fickle want for equality once extreme personalities had entered their midst. To our utter astonishment, they didn't. These scum that would haunt our societies were either subsumed into the mix or blocked from entry, leading many to evaluate the true intent of these radicals. We thought they were just pacifists who'd allow any and all into their ranks, which would spell doom for any gathering. Panic-stricken, many lords conspired, finally pushing for the siege that would be that commune's undoing. Cutting off food, digging extensive tunnels to both poison their wells and revealing more avenues for attack. Lastly, clear diplomacy, to impart some reason into those serfs, enough for them to return to civilization and abandon these naive ideals. The lords saw the beneficiaries within Munstor, a gathering of hag ravens who were prolonging the siege to impossible lengths. Then crumbs of discontent were found among the militia. Fear gripped the nobility that these ideas could spread to every serf. Nobility, not just from Evermore, but from all over High Rock, sent aid when they heard how severe the crisis was. All of High Rock seemingly united to crush this small town. Yet only a Luddite would think so simply. This was to crush an idea, a canker that'd undo the very world we haven. So the Lord's strength was honed into one blow, throwing all their might at those walls. They fell, and what mercy we would have spared upon those misguided serfs was instead replaced with conviction to stamp out a chaotic ideology. No. They, however, did. To the last man, woman, and child, a Pyrrhic victory in the truest sense. Evermore had lost half its serf class, yet the lords were elated that the existential crisis of revolution was averted. Exceptionally harsh measures were put in place for anyone that even uttered the commune's name, or who dared to evoke the same rebellious sentiments. And so that concludes the tale of Monstor. Almost lost myself in another tale. Maybe because that question isn't as easily answered. Bear with me, as what follows can drift into conjecture. Rumors from the nobility in that siege reported seeing figures watching the slaughter unfold in the town, neither part of the kingdom's militia or the defendants. Scouts were dispatched to see who the strange party was, and upon their return they displayed strange idols, with the scouts claiming them as gifts from those shady silhouettes, though their names or identities were never disclosed. Most of the nobility had discarded these charms immediately, except for that wretched Mortifane, who was enamored by that hideous amulet that still wrings his filthy neck. If I could tell you, then we'd already be halfway to a solution by now. But that's where my knowledge ends. I hope you enjoyed the tale. It's always a guilty pleasure to recite when the low-born are acting up.
Something you need? As someone who serves in the light of the Nine, it is to be expected. The matter is light for someone that possesses your skills, though. I'm in need of a particular sap belonging to a Spriggan matron, and I think just one belonging to a lesser. I am in need of this because, with the help of the other priests, we may be able to concoct some immunity for the pox that spills in from the west. The plague that's left the states of the west stricken, mostly just claiming the poor, but has been seeping up into nobility. The pox was sighted among those witchmen, lifeless along the road towards Evermore. We don't know if it's of natural or Daedric origin. It seems to strike hardest with the children and the elderly. A handful of the young died within Arnhem just last month. Fantastic. The matron is being sighted just below the Nord's Inn on the north side of the bridge, with other Spriggans lurking just beyond.